Golden Blue Dude here with you again, and to be honest with you, this particular video might be all over the place, so just bear with me. But I've been checking out what people think will be the biggest game of the 2020 season, and the game that keeps popping up is Texas at LSU. And I don't understand why. I get that LSU is the defending national champions and Texas is supposed to be up and coming, but that's not going to be the biggest game of the season. Number one, LSU lost a lot of talent, especially on the offense, so they're not even going to win the SEC West. Sorry, it's not going to happen. But that game against Texas will be in Baton Rouge, and it will be a night game. Well, probably be a night game. If that's the case, Texas will not win that game. I think Texas will have a decent year, possibly a 10-win season, but they're not going to win the Big 12, and they're not going to go to the playoffs. So, to me, that game is wiped off the table. The game that really pops out to me is the Ohio State and at Oregon game. That game, to me, I think that game could determine a spot in the playoffs, because if Ohio State goes to Oregon and beats them, the Pac-12 probably doesn't go to the playoffs. But it is in Eugene, and if Oregon can knock off Ohio State at home, the rest of their schedule is manageable. Now, this is not a season preview for Oregon. I am going to do one of those. But I looked at the rest of their schedule, and it's really manageable. If they can beat Ohio State, I think Oregon can win the Pac-12 and get into the playoffs with either one loss or undefeated. So that's the game that I think is not only the biggest of the season, but the biggest impact of the playoffs. Another game that pops up. And I do agree, because every year it matters. Georgia and Florida. The problem is the winner of the game usually slips up in the SEC championship and then gets knocked out of the playoffs. So it is an important game, but really that game is more of a stepping stone for either Florida or Georgia's, because the winner of that game still has to go to the SEC championship and beat the SEC West team, who has been representing the SEC in the playoffs. Now, there was that one year where Georgia and Alabama got into the playoffs because they both had great schedules and neither one of them had terrible losses, and the national championship was Georgia and Alabama, and it turned out to be epic. So that could happen, but really the important game for either Georgia and Florida after they win that game, because one of them has to win it, will be the SEC West Championship. So, backpedaling, it's going to be Ohio State at Oregon. And it could be the first time in several years that the Pac-12 gets a team into the playoffs. So this is not only a big deal for Oregon, but it's also a big deal for the Pac-12. Now, as we all know, this pandemic is still instilled a lot of uncertainty. So, and the Pac-12 seems to be the most vulnerable, because especially the state of Oregon, they are really taking this super serious. And they need to. But my point is, if the game even happens. If it does happen, it will be the most important. And that's my take on it. Hey, by the way, I have a new Facebook Live thing coming out. And I'm going to be taking comments, and I'm going to talk about West Virginia content. And you can check that out on the Voice of Motown Facebook group. So, check it out, see what you think, comment, and I'll do my best to, number one, recognize your comment, and number two, try to answer your comment to the best of my ability. So we will be unrolling that sometime this week, hopefully tomorrow. It looks like tomorrow it'll happen, but you know how things are right now. So, and 7 o'clock, whenever it does finally happen, it will be at 7 o'clock. So set your clocks, because Golden Blue Dude is going to go live. That's all I got for you today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, let me know what game you think is the most important of the season, because I want to see what all you guys think, alright? Anyways, I'll see you on my next video. Like I said, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next time.